Video we're going to review BQOOL repricing tool. You cannot live without this tool if you are running an Amazon FBA business. I use it in my business every single day, and it helps me bring my price up and profit more. And this is exactly what you should know about it. So back in the old days of Amazon FBA, you would just manually enter your cost and the price that you want to sell your product on Amazon. So let's say you would buy your product for $20 and then you would sell it at $40. And then you would log back in a few hours later and said, oh no, another seller is selling lower than me. I'm going to manually lower my price so I can have a competitive chance of selling my product. And then you would have to monitor him back and forth. But then what happened? Repricing tools came to the market, which is amazing. Why is it amazing? Because repricing tools allow you to set a minimum and a maximum. A minimum is basically the minimum net profit that you want to sell at. Let's say 10% for myself. And then the maximum, generally you want to put it at the highest possible amount that you want your product to sell to get the highest profitable margin that you can. Generally, there are times that maybe you are the only seller for that particular product, or you are competing against FBM, fulfilled by merchant sellers, and you're an FBA, so Amazon will give you priority. So there are a lot of variables at play that you as an individual can't control by yourself 24/7. You need a tool that controls all these variables for you while you're sleeping to ensure that you make the most money possible. The tool that I personally use is called BQOOL Repricer. I've used this for about a year now. I'm extremely happy with it, and that is why I am recommending it to you now. So as you can see, I am blocking this area so you don't have access to sensitive information, which are the exact items that I'm selling. But you can, let's go step by step. You can set the cost that you purchase your product for, and this cost actually can integrate with Inventory Lab. If you use Inventory Lab, BQOOL Repricer will automatically integrate it so that it grabs the cost from Inventory Lab and it prevents you from duplicating efforts. So here, as you can see, I set a minimum price. I bought it at $41. My minimum price is $72, and my maximum price is $108. Now here are some of the products I no longer sell that I used to sell in the past, but as you can see, this is pretty cool. This is the clickable ASIN. It will open up in a new window and it will show you the product on Amazon.com. Then it shows you how many FBA sellers are. So for example, 14 FBA sellers are selling this product and the ranking. And you can also make annotations in there for that particular product. You can put the cost here, the minimum price that you want to sell it at. I use 10% net profit always. I do not want to go under my 10% net profit rule. Then the maximum price that you're willing to sell it at, and the rule that you want to assign to it. I'm going to go over rules in a little bit. Then if you get a little check mark here, it means that BQOOL has identified that you own the buy box at this particular moment. And if you don't have the check mark, it means that you're not in the buy box. Then it tells you what the buy box price is and the low price plus shipping, what it is. So it gives you all these stats in one dashboard. It also lets you filter all your FBA inventory results by the ones that are missing the minimum price, the ones missing maximum price, all these different variables that you can filter so that you can better organize all your inventory. Of course, it also lets you download everything right here. And if you click on the settings here, you can see here in the settings, you can set up your time zone. You can set your Inventory Lab integration. That way, It integrates directly with your cost pricing from Inventory Lab, and it grabs it and it automatically puts it in there without you having to manually enter the cost for every single item. That can be so tedious, but thanks to BQOOL integration, this is possible. Now, if you are an FBA seller, I'm gonna go through settings now. If you're an FBA seller, you wanna put that on here and put your default shipping price to be 0. Why? Because you don't need a shipping price. FBM sellers only need a shipping price. Your shipping price is always determined by FBA, Amazon, not you. Then you want to put your default rule. You're going to see that I have many different rules, but I always want to use a particular rule for all new listings to default to. So one of the coolest things about BQOOL is that it has its own AI, artificial intelligence rules. I use them sometimes, but mostly I customize my own rules just because I am so familiar with the tool already. But if you're a newbie with the tool, then you might just want to use their artificial intelligence rules, which is basically their developers have come up with certain algorithms and formulas that are maximizing your profit margins at all times. So let's get to it. One of my main rules is called main. So if you go to main under the repricing rules, you go to main, you go next, and you can copy exactly my settings. I have been perfecting these settings over the last year or so, so I'm pretty comfortable that they work very, very well. So you want to, so if you're an FBA seller, you're only gonna want to tick this. You want to compete against Amazon, FBA, and non-feature FBA because you don't really care about FBM sellers. They're in a different category. Amazon will always give you priority because your items are already in their warehouses and they can ship them quicker than an FBM seller. So you have about 5% advantage, give or take, from FBM sellers. So you only want to compete against either Amazon itself or other FBA sellers. Now, I exclude other FBA sellers that have like a very bad rating, like 80% rating and lower. For the same reason, you want to exclude sellers that have back order product. They don't have the product in hand, whereas you do. And you always want to compete with sellers that are selling the items in the same condition that you are. If you're selling new items, you want to compete against sellers that are also selling new items, not against sellers that are selling used items, because your value is always going to be higher than the value of those sellers. So now that we determine competitors, we move on to the Get Buy Box category. And these are my settings. I am showing you exactly the settings that I have in my own tool so you can replicate them. So this first setting is basically when another seller has you want to compete with the people that currently own the buy box. So if another person has a buy box at $30, you want BQOOL to make your price $30, no 1 cent lower, no 1 cent higher. And this is basically what this setting is doing, as long as BQOOL recognizes that that price from that buy box is above your minimum price. My minimum price is always net 10% margin. So if BQOOL recognizes that this other seller that currently owns the buy box is under my minimum price, it will not reprice my listings because it knows that I don't want to lose money. It knows that I don't want to go under the 10% margin. So when the buy box winner matches let's say my minimum price is $10, then BQOOL will use my minimum price because I'm exactly at 10% margin. And then this auto compete feature means that sometimes there's more than one buy box winner. Amazon assigns 2 buy box winners. So if one is, let's say, at 10 and the other one is at 12, BQOOL will auto compete. It will try to match you in between there and between those two sellers so that you have a competitive price to own the buy box. Now, when BQOOL knows that the buy box winner is above my maximum price, it will use my maximum price. Let's say my maximum price is $30 and the buy box winner is at $30. It will use $30. If the buy box winner is at $45, it will still use my $30 because I set a maximum price. There's also a reason why I don't set my maximum price at like $2,000. It's because Amazon will automatically blacklist your listing or prevent you from selling. Like basically will flag your item if it has an exorbitant amount. So you always gotta fall under their margins. Otherwise, Amazon will definitely not let you sell it and they will flag you until you fix that. So I will go over on how to set up your maximum price in a little bit. This next rule, when it finds that the buy box winner is below my minimum price, it will use my minimum price. So if the buy box winner is at 9 and my minimum price is at 10, it won't put me at 9, it will put me at 10 because that's my minimum price. And when the buy box winner is found between below minimum price and above maximum price, it will use my minimum price. And again, these are all rules that you tell BQOOL so that it improves your chances of getting the buy box. And why is it important to get the buy box? Because once you own the buy box, sales start happening. When nobody owns the buy box, put it at my minimum price. Why? Because if nobody owns the buy box, I want to be the most competitive possible. So I want to lower it all the way down to my minimum price. When you are the only seller, right here, use the maximum price. Why? Because there is nobody else competing with you. You don't want to use your minimum price, you want to use your maximum price. Instead of getting $10, you want to get $30 or whatever your maximum price is. This rule, when buy box winners are excluded by your seller, I show you my previous settings where I exclude sellers that have a lower rating and do not sell in my same condition. So when that happens, let's say there is another seller that has the buy box, but his rating is 80%. I don't want to compete against that. Even if he beat me to the buy box, let's say he has the buy box at 9, I don't want to compete against him because I know that he had to lower his prices because he's not selling otherwise. And I don't have that problem. So I'm going to wait until he sells out and Amazon to raise their price again. And then I want to compete against people that are in my ballpark. The same condition, the same rating, FBA sellers, etc. You can ignore this safety net. This safety net is in case you don't know what you're doing, which is not the case because I'm showing you exactly what to do. But let's say you were new to BQOOL and you didn't have this tutorial that I'm showing you, you would probably want a safety net. A safety net is basically, you tell BQOOL to not price your stuff too high or too low because then it might go nuts and then you might end up selling all your inventory at a loss. But this is not your problem. Minimum price protection settings, I put my minimum price. So if anything happens, always use my minimum price. That way I know that whatever I'm selling at 10% net margin. BQOOL lets you put independent settings for who you want to compete with. So in the case that I am competing, I'm an FBA competing against Amazon. Let's say Amazon is on the listing and Amazon has the buy box. I want my price to be 0.50% lower than Amazon's price. And I have been playing a lot with this setting, -5, -10, -0.10, -0.001 cent. And I realized that this is a sweet spot, 50, like half of a percent. And that is enough for Amazon to actually give you a little bit of the buy box percentage to you, so you can start making a little sales, but not enough to completely tank your price and be at a loss. So if you want to compete against Amazon when Amazon owns the buy box, this is the way to go. So now we are moving on. We already went through get the buy box settings. And now that we got the buy box, we're going to move on to staying in the buy box. How to stay in the buy box. But before I do that, do me a huge favor. Can you please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and like this video. Like this video whenever you have a chance. And also, I love listening to your comments and questions. So drop a comment, whatever question you have. I read all my comments. I answer all questions. And if you want any free trials and discounts on all the tools that I use, especially this one, BQOOL, you can get a 14-day free trial with BQOOL with my link below in the description. So try it out for 14 days and see if you like it. Anyway, moving on. So this one is a controversial one, and I'll tell you why. I used to have this setting so that I would always, once I have the buy box, I would have BQOOL compete towards the next person that has the buy box, or the next seller. So let's say I got the buy box at $10 and the next seller is at $12. I would have BQOOL put me at $11.99, so 1 cent lower than the next seller. That way I would ensure that my price is always going up. And that would work a little bit. However, after thorough experimentation, this is by far the best setting, the one that I'm giving you right now. And why? Because basically once you get the buy box, just stay in the buy box. Do not change a thing. When you have the buy box, sure, your price could always go higher, but when you have the buy box, you're going to start making sales. And you don't want Amazon to move you around. Amazon may not like that you're constantly repricing up once they give you the buy box. They want all sellers to be as competitive as possible. So if they give you a buy box when you're at 10, they don't want any sudden movements and you going at 12. So if you want to stay longer at the buy box so you can make more sales, just have this setting. Do not change my buy box price. And that's exactly what I do. Here on the next tab, you can set a schedule, but I don't really use that. Basically, if you want to pause it in the middle of the night or a certain hour, you want it to reprice a certain way, but I basically just the whole day, the whole night, the same strategy. And then here's the overview, and then you would put save and finish. Now I'm going to show you my next rule. My next rule is when I get the buy box less than 1% of the time in the last 24 hours, then I want this to happen. Basically, it's all the settings from the previous rule, but with the exception that instead of matching the buy box price of the person that owns the buy box, I want my price to be 0.10% lower than that guy. Let's say that guy has $10 and he owns the buy box. I want my price to be $9.90 or whatever that is, that calculation. And that puts me a tiny little bit more competitive than that guy, and it increases my chances of getting the buy box. And again, I'm only using this rule when BQOOL detects. This is another great part about this tool. It detects the percentage of time during the last 24 hours that you were the owner of the buy box. And if it's under 1%, I want this rule to activate. And lastly is my conditional rule. This is actually the rule that I use the most on all my listings, pretty much. And the conditional rules are only available in the higher tier pricing of BQOOL, which is for 10,000 listings, and it does allow you to use more of the AI functions and the conditional rules. And I'll show you why I use conditional rules. So I'm here in my conditional rule. The conditional rule is so cool because I can tell it when my buy box wins is less than 1%, I won't be cool to use the rule that I just showed you, the buy box percentage under 1%. But if my buy box wins in the last 24 hours are over 1%, then I won't be cool to use my main rule. My main rule, if you remember, is when I match exactly the price of the person that owns the buy box, and I don't have to undercut him by 0.10%. So if I'm owning the buy box, I don't need to undercut anybody. I can just match them. But if I'm not owning the buy box enough times, I want to be as competitive as I can because I don't want to miss out on any chances. And finally, I want to show you my no buy box rule. My no buy box rule I use for all the listings that don't have a buy box. And I am in a lot of these listings because there's a lot of opportunity for listings that don't have a buy box. So the only difference is that instead of competing with the buy box price, you're going to compete against the lowest price. And here you're going to put, when competitor is above minimum price, competitor's price. Anyway, so a few changes here and there, but pretty much it stays the same. That's the only thing that changed. And you're going to apply this rule to all your listings that don't have a buy box. Now, we were talking about before how to come up with the minimum price and the maximum price that you're going to have to fill out here. By the way, the ones that are not filled out here is because the inventory is actually in transit right now. It's being shipped to Amazon. So I'm not repricing those listings because they are not available yet. But as you see, most of my other listings are available and have minimum and maximum pricing. So the cost, if you use Inventory Lab, is going to be fully integrated like I showed you before, and BQOOL is going to automatically take it from Inventory Lab. The minimum price, you come up with your Amazon calculator. I use either Seller Amp or AC Insight, which is a tool that I've been using lately. I like both of them for different reasons, but and the way you come up with minimum price is, your 10% margin. I think I covered this in other videos. You put your buy cost, let's say 170, and all your costs, and then you put on AC Insight, you put like, let's say 10% margin right here, and then it shows you that your sell price will have to be $266, and that would be your minimum price. But how do you come out with a maximum price? Well, very easy. Maximum price, you go to your keypad chart, and basically what I do, this is for the entire last year, the last 365 days, and I just scroll, I mouse over, and I see that the buy box, which is that pink little box right there, it says 240, 280, 280, and it goes up and it goes up. And I see that the maximum that the buy box has ever gotten in the last year is 397. So I would probably put it at 396.99. Basically, I use the maximum price that I ever seen on a buy box for that AC number in the last year in the Keepa chart, and then I take down like 1 cent or so. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this review of BQOOL. And again, this is a tool that I use myself. That's the only reason I'm recommending it to you. If you want to grab a 14-day free trial, so you can try it completely for free, grab a link below on my description. It should be an easy setup since you've seen exactly every single setting that I use myself. I hope you like it. I hope it improves your business and helps you get more profit like it has for me. And as usual, I wish you the best, and I'm here to try to help you make more money with Amazon FBA. Okay? Thank you and have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on the next video.